Welcome back. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to do nighttime crappies under a light, 2 different lighting conditions, clear, green, and we are going to follow the moon phase. This is going to be a 4-part series, okay? This is class, gentlemen. So get your pen, get a cup of coffee, get a Coca-Cola soda, get a beer, whatever you drink, because this is what we're gonna do. So we're here, and we're gonna follow the moon phase, and we are gonna catch some reservoir crappies under the light. Here last week, okay, and we had some lighting issues, and I really wasn't happy with the footage. We had a lot of stuff blow in the water. We had our talking points. What we do here is Outdoor University. We write talking points down on a piece of paper of things that we want to put in the video, things we want you to learn, things we want you to know. Well, halfway through, they blew into the lake. That's on the blooper reel. You can see that on OutdoorUniversityOnline.com. So we're gonna start fresh, we're gonna start clean. We are in Northeast Ohio. We are on West Branch, District 3, and we are on a monster school of crappies. Right now we're catching smaller crappies because it's the daytime. We are also doing muskie, nighttime, live baiting them under a light. I don't know anybody that's ever done that segment. And I'm about to teach you guys something that crappie fish that have muskies in the water that you fish that you didn't know. So let's get baited up, let's get back at it, and maybe we'll talk about rigging next. Let's go. All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about rigging. All we're doing is a regular split shot and a hook. On one rod, I have a Pinman. Okay, we had clear skies today, stable barometric pressure, so I like to go with brighter colors even at night. And all I'm doing is hooking them through the tail. And on the other rod, I got a Mr. Crappie True Turn and a split shot. And that's all we're doing. We're just going down about 10 feet where we're seeing them on the fish finder. Stable barometric pressure is always a good time to use Pinmans. Whenever you have a rise or a drop or an unsteady barrow, I always like to go with a bare hook and downsize on your minnows. One thing, he just took my whole minnow. Look at that, my whole minnow. One thing you gotta remember is this, is when you have a steady barometric pressure, your fish are going to do a lot more chasing. They're going to want to be more active. So give them a little bit more line from the split shot to the Pinman or hook. That way that minnow can get away and trigger that strike response. When you have an unsteady barrow, choke it up. That way he can't get that far, but he can still move around and still trigger that response. So that's always a good tip to remember. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get rigged back up and get back in and see if we can get another one. Summertime is one of my favorite time to catch reservoir crappies, decent size crappies. One thing you gotta remember is nighttime is when your big crappies come out. You're gonna hear that. That's a really nice fish. You're gonna hear that old saying, crappies are crappies no matter where they swim, and I'm here to tell you that's full of crap. That was an old Doug Stange in fisherman thing. Crappies are crappies no matter where they swim. That's not true. Crappies are different than northern crappies are different than southern crappies. Southern crappies are different than northern crappies. Eastern crappies are different than western crappies. What will dictate the bite, okay, is number one, forage in the lake. Number two, what type of lake you're in. Are you in a natural kettle lake? Are you in a lake with a lot of stumps? Are you in a lake with a lot of inside corner sweeps? Excuse excuse me, and drop-offs. We're going to talk more about that later, but let's get back down there right now because that was a pretty nice one, and I think there's a couple more big ones down there. Okay, I want to take a minute, and I want to talk about some barometric pressure and location of these summertime crappies. You're going to find that if the pressure is rising, they're going to be higher in the column. If the pressure is dropping, they're going to be lower in the column, okay? When the barometric pressure, steadiest pressure, if you're over 20 feet of water, 30 feet of water, 40 feet of water, what you're going to find is you're going to find that 10 to 15 foot range. 10 over 20, it's a famous saying. Everybody knows it. Yeah, this is a nice fit.
He's still on there too.
That was a nice fish,
wow,
guys.
it broke the rod, guys.
Oh, and he spit me. He spit me too.
Wow.
He spit me. Good thing I bring several rods. He spit me. That wasn't him, but that fish bit it. This fish bit after whatever that was, let go of it. That's still a really nice crappie. He's got a big chunk taken out of him.
Oh,
see
man,
that?
something, yeah, something.
Big muskie just came through here. That's why I'm not using ultralights. You'll notice that I'm using a little bit heavier rods, and I'm not really using the ultralights. But anyways, as I was saying, guys, high pressure, they're gonna be higher in a column. Low pressure, they're gonna be lower in a column. Steady barometric pressure, they can be anywhere, but I usually find 10 to 15 feet, okay? We're gonna talk about guard crappie later and how they relate to schools with major predators, these sockheads in them, pike, and muskies, striper, stuff like that that prey on these crappies. Not all lakes, have the guard crappie phenomena. A lot of you guys don't even believe in guard crappie, where I'm here to tell you that they're true, and you'll find them only in northern states. But we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But right now, man, apparently I'm having some issues with these muskies. So I'll get back with you here in a minute.
I just want to recap real quick what just happened. So he caught a crappie, reeling it in, and a muskie grabbed it, snapped his rod. Put a nice little chunk out of the fish. Coming for you, muskie.
Got another one here. This fish, nice fish. Decent crappie eater, as you can see. Switched up and using a jig on one rod. I'm a little upset about my last rod. That was my favorite rod. Had muskie break me off. What we're doing is we got a crappie hornet, silver, with a chartreuse head. And I mean, you can see the size of that fish. That's a decent crappie. All we're doing is I'm going down to the bottom because it's not night yet. So I'm going all the way down to the bottom as low as I can get. And what I'm doing is I'm staying about 6 inches off the bottom and I'm just swimming it sideways. Let me show you what I'm doing. Let's get it down to the bottom. We're in 24 feet of water. The water temperature is 74 degrees. So let's get down to the bottom here and I'll show you what I'm doing. Almost there, guys. We're pretty deep. Fishing at 32nd ounce jig. All right, so what I'm doing is I just lift it off the bottom and then I'll drop her hard and then I'll swim it. And I'll just move it across the water. Then I'll pick it up like that. Just like that. I call it swimming jigs. I'm not swimming them, I'm not casting them. I'm just picking it up, letting it drop, then swim it to the other side. Pick it up, let it drop, swim it to the other side. We're only swimming maybe a 4 to 5 foot area. Let's get back down there and get some bigger ones. All right, it seems like I'm always doing a little talking point, when I'm catching a fish. So I'm just gonna let you guys just watch us fish for a minute. How's that? Get out here, drop this jig down there, catch a fish. maybe hear about, a little bit behind the scenes of what we talk about here at Outdoor University. We'll call this intermission. Usually I like to hit that 10-foot range.
Yeah, I want to try to get back on top of those black crappie.
You want to get back on top of them black crappies, yeah. I usually don't find them mixed too much like that. The black and whites. Ooh, boy, he was a little on the upset side, that one was. He smashed that jig. I'm telling you, I really love that. Those crappie hornets. Especially that color. I've tried other colors and they work. They just don't work, Jack. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just don't work as good as that.
Yeah, you seem to have a lot of luck
silver. You guys might have been asking or noticed that why I have a bobber stop tied on my line. I do that. An old guy taught me this. An old guy taught me one time. He used to fish jigs, vertical fish jigs with it. And instead of fishing 2 jigs, okay, what he would do is he'd put that up there just in case it got hit. And that way he knew that he was fishing, below the fish too much, because crappies only feed above themselves. Very rarely will you see them go down for the bait, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it. Plus he's no longer with us, and I just do it like in memory. That's a nice little one. Little baby crappie, huh?
Little nice little one.
Little baby white crappie. Now I got that pinman in the water with nothing on it, and they keep coming up and smacking it. You know what I'm saying? Man, that was aggressive. That fish was pretty upset.
It's almost like they don't get out there and eat.
Oh, they eat. Just wait till, it gets dark. One thing you are going to notice, I can't help myself, I got to talk. One thing you're going to notice is we're doing this in the moon phases. Okay? This is episode 1 of 4. Tonight we have a full moon. What happens is these lights are not as effective, okay? Because there's light all over, so the photoplankton naturally comes up all over instead of just targeting one, area because it's dark and you're lighting up an area. I find that new moons, they work the best. On the crescents, they work really good. Towards the end, towards the new moon, they always work real good. That one hit it pretty good. There's another crappie.
That's a nice size crappie.
Yeah, a little baby one, but it's nice. They're good eater crappies. So always pay attention to your moon phases. I like to do it, keep logs. You hear me say this in every video. Keep a log, because you can go back and reference weather, time, date, conditions. You can do all of that. And in a 3 to 5, 10 year period, you can come up with a really good pattern where you can pretty much almost guarantee that you're not going to get skunked that night. Boy, he demolished that jig. It really did. Get down there about 10 feet. See what's down there. I just want you guys to come along with us here for a minute. Because it seems like we're always, in these videos, we're always getting a little too serious. I had somebody say to me the other day, you're always real serious in these videos. Fishing isn't meant to be serious. It's meant to be fun and pleasurable. That's why I do it. I'm a fishaholic, gentlemen. I'm addicted to them. But fishing's meant to be fun, so I just wanted you guys to come along with us for a minute and see that it ain't just, when we catch a fish, that school's in. Because guess what? School's in all the time. Get back
That's
down
true.
Get back down here. Wow, they're killing this jig tonight. one thing that I love about dams is in the summertime they always wind up collecting the larger predators and the larger fish. And it's a really good place to target. I really enjoy dams. I fish a lot of them. If there's a good rip-rap dam, I'm there. You can guarantee it. There's another one. You got to get down below them little ones to get them bigger ones. Sometimes you can't even get your jig down there. Get that jig on there. Man, they're just ripping that jig apart. I'm gonna have to re-rig that jig. Spin it. Sometimes when they tear it, if you just take it back off and spin it, you can get a couple more fish out of it. Like that. See if we can get another fish out of this jig, because this jig's about done. I got that bobber stopped about 1 foot to 2 foot up. That way I'm making sure I'm not fishing too high. As you can see, there's a wall behind us. So they're definitely concentrated on the wall, but we will be doing this technique in different lakes, in different scenarios. We're gonna do open water, we're gonna do contour sweeps, we're gonna do deep submerged brush piles. We're gonna do different things just to show you this technique works. We have 2 different colored lights tonight. We have a clear and a green. And we're gonna talk about lights later and colors. I'm really hoping one of them muskies whack one of these rods. I already got broke off once. That's why I usually fish with heavier rods. You know, I mean, I'm fishing with 10-pound test right now on these.
Right.
Just because of the muskies that are in this lake.
Well, that's a nice fish right there. I just can't believe that you caught and was reeling in and a muskie bit down on that fish. It snapped your rod. That's pretty amazing. And what's the chances of that happening to me out there river, side banking fishing?
Well, the odds of that happening are actually pretty good, because I mean, you can see, Jack, we're not far from the dam.
No.
You know what I'm saying? We're not far at all. So a lot of times I'll come out here, like, there's times I only got a little bit of time, to fish, because I fish 5 days a week,
Right.
5 days a week I'm fishing for you, guys here on YouTube. And, I got a wife. And, you got to spend some time with her. So sometimes I'll sneak out real quick. And I'll just throw a catfish bobber, with a sucker on it, or a big shiner on it, or a bluegill. I'll catch a crappie real quick, a little baby crappie off the riprap, and I'll just whip it out here. You know what I'm saying? Put it at about 20 feet deep, about 4 foot off the bottom. We're at 24 feet. It drops off real quick right here. And I'll just sit. And I do catch them on big cat bobbers, Man, these things are wet. I got to get deeper. But those are the baby crops. Let's get down underneath.
I can't even make it down underneath it.
Yeah. That's going to be one of those nights, huh?
Oh, yeah. Catching crappie.
It'll be one of those nights. See, when you start catching a lot of those little ones, that's when you got to pay attention. Because the muskies are down there. Which is a good time to talk about guard crappies.
Yeah, I was
Right
going to bring that up.
Huh?
I was going to bring that up.
You going to bring up guard crappies?
Yeah, why don't you touch base on that? I know,
All right.
like you said, a lot of people don't believe it, but up here, up north.
Yeah, well, let's make sure that camera's recording. Is that camera recording?
Oh yeah, it's recording.
All right, man. I'll take a minute and I'll talk about guard crappies. This is a pretty controversial thing. You ask any? You ask any old timer about guard crappie, and they're going to tell you what they are. Guard crappie are crappies that are the larger in the school. Everybody knows they're a Class A schooling fish, and they school to size. Usually larger fish school with larger fish, smaller fish school with smaller fish. Well, in lakes that have sockheads, muskies, pike, big wipers, stripers, big predators that feed on them, very aggressive predators, that's not true, which are in mostly northern lakes. What you'll have is you'll have crappie schooling together, and you'll have underneath and on the outer edges of the school the largest fish in that school, the largest crappies in that school. And there's a reason why they do that, is because the muskies will travel along underneath them and come up and whack them, or they'll come in from the sides and whack them. So what happens is these fish know that, so they put the bigger fish on the bottom and the bigger fish on the sides. So when the muskies come in, they think that all the fish in that school are that size, and they're not as, amped to bite. It's a natural defense system. It's almost like sardines. Power in numbers, but it's power in size. So remember, guard crappie, gentlemen. It's a very controversial thing. Some guys are going to tell you guard crappie don't exist. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Anybody that tells you guard crappie don't exist is obviously either a southern fisherman or he ain't a true crappie fisherman. Man, it's taking a long time to get down there, man, and trying to weed through these little ones.
Yeah, that's...
Water clarity is pretty good over here at the dam tonight. I'll catch one more here. Like this one right here. Yeah. Alright, guys. We're going to shut this camera off for a minute. I just wanted you guys to have a little bit of fun with us here,
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be all serious. I
We
got
have a
that
good time.
comment the other day. He's like, it seems like you're always teaching, Well, teaching is a very important thing to me. Because there's a lot of misinformation out here. A lot of misinformation. A lot of guys out here catching fish. They ain't telling you anything. They're just catching fish. They're not telling you what they're using or why they're catching the fish. Okay? Behavior equals location, which equals presentation. Remember that. Alright, guys. I'm going to take a break. We'll get back with you. Another very important tool in my arsenal is my AquaView Micro. I like the Micro because it's portable, it's easy. I use it ice fishing. I like to use this thing down there so I can size the fish. I'll go down there and I'll see 10 feet, say, all right, we got 9-inch crappies, go a little lower, find out if the bigger ones are below, which they usually are, in lakes that have high, big predators and sockets. So I'll go down a little lower, and I just like to spot around. Besides, you see things you don't even know. Sometimes you get down at the bottom, you're sitting on some cats. Or one thing you guys need to know about these lights and AquaViews is walleyes don't like these lights, okay? The green light, if you use the green light, it works. Sometimes, you'll hear guys out there, I catch walleyes at night under the green light all the time. Well, they don't like it. But with this has infrared on it, okay? And you can see them hanging on the outskirts of the light. Their eyes will shine and glow. So when I see that, what I'll usually do is I'll turn all my lights off and I'll hit my red light. That works. The walleyes will move in, and you can vertical fish them with minnows and jigs, pinmans, maggots, stuff like that. I find that to be really, really, really good, helpful tip. So pick yourself up one of these. You can get AquaViews pretty cheap. They got some other brands out there you can get off Amazon, which is really good, actually. This is a really, really, really good tool in my arsenal. And I'm not promoted by Amazon. Outdoor University don't do stuff like that. It's just, this is a tool that really works. I use it a lot ice fishing for location, not just fish. Structure, gentlemen. You can see You can see, okay, on my down imaging, that's a brush pile and I can see fish on it. What kind of fish are they? Right here. It'll tell you what they are. Aquaview. Pick yourself up one. All right, let's get back to fishing. Another thing is you gotta remember that sometimes these crappie will be just below your sight. There's a time in the night, and no matter where you fish under this light, that they will come up really, really high. You'll still see a lot of fish all through the column, but they'll come up 6 to 8 feet underneath of you. And those are the most aggressive ones, the ones that are higher in the column. So here's what we're gonna do. There's my minnow. And there's the top of my rod right there. All right, we got 6 feet. Follow me, guys. Ready?
Yep.
We're gonna go just to where the minnow vanishes. Just to where you can't see the minnow. We're gonna bring it up into the sight where we can see the split shot, and then we're gonna drop the tip to where we can't see the split shot. And all we're doing is fishing a live minnow and catching slab crappies. Your bigger crappies will move up sometimes. You gotta be diverse and you gotta pay attention to these fish, okay? Because I don't care where you fish, gentlemen. That's a nice fish. A bucket full of those makes a happy belly. Let's get them back in. Like I said earlier, we got a stable barometric pressure, so I'm giving these fish, I'm only fishing 6 feet to 8 feet down, but I'm giving them a good 16-inch leader. So let's find out. Follow me again. Go down just to where the split shot disappears. Come up to where you can see the split shot and drop it back down. And then catch monster slab crappies. Get that pinman out of them. There's a nice fish, guys. Let's get them back in. I want to talk about another phenomenon that happens when you catch a lot of them and you're throwing them back in and you're weeding out the little ones and you're getting some eaters. What'll happen is sometimes you'll notice that the bite will slow down as you throw some fish back. What's actually happening down there is you're throwing these fish back and they ain't leaving. They're staying right there. They're not biting again, and they're not in a very aggressive mode, and the other fish can read that mood of them fish, and they're starting to get more and more and more, so the mood is starting to slow and slow and slow. So here's what I like to do. I'll take a jig, and all I'll do is I'll throw right to the outskirts of the light, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll fish a little bit on the outskirts of the light. I'll just let the jig fall. If I know they're in the first 8 feet of the column, then I'll do like a reel and a half. I'll let it fall, and then I'll do a reel and a half, and bring it back at me, just like that. Let it fall to you until it gets vertical. When it gets vertical, try again. Just go to the outskirts of the light. That's all you gotta do. Fish the outskirts of the light, because those are fish that haven't been targeted yet. Usually you'll find a lot bigger fish out there on the outskirts of the light because maybe they've been caught before, or they're just a little more skittish. Now, big fish don't get big by being stupid. So I like to fish the outskirts of the light a little bit better, and that's a real good technique to use when the bite slows down, especially in lakes that you don't have real big predators, like muskie and stuff. You know, there's a lot of muskie in this lake that we're fishing right now. So we find that to be true on lakes that really don't have it, because, you know, usually when the bite slows down here, it's usually a major predator in the area. So we'll keep an eye on our fish finder. If we don't see any major predators in the area, all we'll do is we'll take it, we'll throw it to the outskirts of the light, and we just tighten the line and let it fall back to us till it gets into that about 8-foot range. As soon as it gets into that 8-foot range, we'll reel it about a reel and a half. We'll let it fall back at us. We'll reel it about a reel and a half until it comes back into that 6 to 8 foot range. And we'll just continue. Ooh, I just got tapped. And we'll just continue that pattern. Try different areas because they won't be everywhere. So I'll hit the perimeter, I'll fan cast out, and I'll fan cast out, and I'll fan cast out over here. And what I'll do is I'll find, if I catch a fish in that area, I'll throw several times and see that if there, you know, if there's something to that. Like that one right here. That's a smaller one. That's a real small crappie. That's good muskie bait right there. But all I'll do is I'll throw it to the outskirts of the light. That's always a good thing to remember, because a lot of times you'll find a lot larger fish by doing that. I remember I was on Dale Hollow one time doing that, and the bite just totally stopped. And I said, well, I know there's not real major predators in here, you know, in Dale Hollow, you know. What's going on? So I started fishing the outskirts of the light. There's another one on the outskirts of the light. Okay, we're starting to come up with a pattern on the outskirts of the light, guys. And I started noticing that I started catching larger fish on the outskirts of the light. I was like, because this is a really good pattern on Dale Hollow. A lot of guys do it. There's a lot of videos out there. Nighttime crappie on Dale Hollow under lights. There's a bunch of videos of people doing it. That is a very high pressured lake for that. So I like to fish the outskirts of the light, or change up the color to a red light or a mixed color, because down there it's green lights. Not a lot of guys use white light. Down there, did you hear that? That was a big something. That sounded like a muskie jumping. That's what that sounded like. That sounded like a muskie jumping. But try the outskirts of the light. Tip of the day, guys. Let's get back down there and see if we can get some bigger ones. All right, I want to take a minute and I want to talk about Penman colors. Okay. When we have a stable barometric pressure, I love going with bright colors during the daylight hours. One thing you guys need to understand is when you're fishing under these lights, green light conditions, red light conditions, and even the orange, the old school orange light conditions, you guys got to remember that the colors are going to be different, okay? So the greener the lights, the more your chartreuses, your greens are going to come more darker, okay? More pearls and stuff like that are going to become more chartreuse, okay? What we'll do is we'll put a color chart on OutdoorUniversityOnline.com. Go there and you'll be able to see the color chart to what color lights you're using. Now, this does not apply if you're using clear lights. So what I'm using right now is a chartreuse. We have mixed light. We're doing green with clear. Our water clarity is mid-grade. That's why we have about a 3.5 foot clarity. I've seen this particular lake get to about 6 foot clarity, and I've seen it be mud. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna throw down. We got an 18-inch leader. We're gonna get down there. Now we already know that these fish aren't real deep. The bigger crappies have moved up according to our aqua view. So we're gonna get down there. We're gonna see what this light does. We're gonna come up, we're gonna pull up our jigs, and we're gonna drop real slow. We're not running a regular jig, so we can't drop on them real fast. You gotta remember there's a split shot on it. So, and that's pretty, whoop. There's one right there, tapped it. I'm a little too anxious. So all I'll do is I'll come up on them and I'll drop slow on them when I'm using a split shot with a pinman. Okay? Move it over a little bit to the side. You'll notice that we're using two different colored lights. We have a green light down there, okay? And we have our clear lights down there. We're running clear lights on both sides of the boat and the front. I have a green LED down there, and then I have green LEDs under the boat. I also have red and orange under the boat, okay? We're not using our reds, and we're not using our oranges. So we're at 6 foot. Let's drop another 2 and see. One thing I like to do when I remember my depth is I'll measure from my reel 2 feet up, and then I'll just pull it out 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's a better way to get a really, really good, accurate measurement on what you're doing. If your fish finder doesn't have a flasher system on it, mine does. I don't really use it. I find that I pay too much attention to the flasher and not enough attention to the environment. So I try not to use my flasher when I'm doing this. So, because I like to pay attention to the environment, because subtle changes, wind shifts, stuff like that will set. That was a nice fish. I just ripped it right out of his mouth. That was a really nice fish. Subtle wind changes, stuff like that. Another thing that I like to do is I'll drop that underwater camera down and I'll see which way the current is. We're fishing a wall today. We're fishing a pump house. And what will happen is you'll notice that there'll be current shifts. Sometimes the pump house will kick on, okay, and the current will shift. That affects the forage. When it affects the forage, it affects the fish, okay? It'll affect their location in the column, because what'll happen, sometimes when the current pulls up, the forage will push to the wall to get out of the current. When it slacks off, they'll push away from the wall. Never underestimate that wall, gentlemen. Get next to it, okay? It grows algae, which the minnows love. All right, let's get back down there and see if I can get another one here real quick. Oh, I've been screaming and screaming and screaming. All right, come on. Oh,
I'm trying.
I got him. He's on a pinman, dude. I'm working him. I'm trying, Jack. I gotta try to keep him out of that other line over here. I have to. I'm not gonna be happy, Jack, at all, okay? Alright guys, we're gonna see if we can get this fish. This is one of the reasons why I was telling you guys about it. Hold on. This is one of the reasons why I was telling you why I don't like ultralights. This is one of the reasons right here to do that, because on lakes that you have predators on, lakes that you have predators on, I'm sorry, man, cameraman's over here trying to land them, so we can get them up on film for you guys here. Back the minnow, bro. Here, please reel this in. Leave it there. Hurry up. Now I've been screaming, screaming, and screaming. All right, film, Jack.
Oh.
Hurry up.
I'm trying.
I got him. He's on a pinman, dude. I'm working him. I'm trying, Jack. gotta try to keep him out of that other line over here. I have to. I'm not gonna be happy, Jack, at all, okay? All right, guys, we're gonna see if we can get this fish. This is one of the reasons why I was telling you guys about it. Jack, give me that net. Hold on. This is one of the reasons why I was telling you why I don't like ultralights. This is one of the reasons right here to do that, because on lakes that you have predators on, right, on lakes that you have predators on, I'm sorry, man, where cameraman's over here trying to land them, so we can get them up on film for you guys here. You whacked the minnow, bro. You whacked the minnow, bro. Here, please reel this in. Give me the net. Hurry up. Get it to me. Stop. Got him. Yeah. There we go, boys. There's a muskie on film. All right, then. On a pinman. On me. All right. Now that was exciting. Now, like I said before, these muskies, man, when you notice that that bite slows down, when you notice that bite starts to slow down, that usually means, in lakes that have the sockets, that usually means that there's a predator in the area. This lake is world renowned for its muskie. The old state record came out of this lake. Muskie. Just broke me off. So let's take a look at this fish, guys. Hold on, he's real mad. He's real mad. All right, guys. Oh man, he's pissed. All right. All right, guys. There you go. One West Branch muskie for you. Wow. Take a look at his face. Let's get some light on him, Jack.
I got him.
Right in front of him.
Here, where's that,
Huh?
He's not happy.
He is not happy.
You see your net.
Oh, hold on. Muskie, baby! That was fun. Outdoor University, baby. Muskie. Woo! Okay, this was part one in the segment. Like I said, this is going to be a 4-part series. We're going to follow the moon phase with this. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. Look, I had a lot of fun today. There's still a whole lot of information that I want to talk about. But we at Outdoor University, we sat down, we had a conference meeting. The first video we shot, we decided there was just too much information in it. Too much we wanted to say, too much information. So what we did is we decided to reshoot it. That original video that we shot here 2 weeks ago, you can go to outdooruniversityonline.com, all one word, and check it out. So, with that being said, I think we're gonna do a little close today. We gotta get home. I know my wife wants me home. I know my cameraman Jack wants his wife home. So, remember, small carbon footprint. And please, 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 take a kid fishing. Well, guys, that was a lot of fun. What is this? White bass. Well, guys, that was a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun today. I hope you learned something. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, smash that like, join. We do a lot of giveaways. stuff like that. We take a lot of clients out. Check out the one where we took out Mike, one of our subscribers. He had a blast. We caught some pretty large cats that night. That, I think, is a cut bait versus live bait. We had a lot of fun. There's actually a follow-up to that we haven't posted yet. But if you like, subscribe, smash that like button, tell your friends. A few things that I want to go over today is one thing you got to remember when you're doing this in lakes that have major predators: striper, big wipers, muskie, pike, stuff like that, is always upgrade your system. Don't worry about fishing with the ultralight. Don't worry that little 8-pound or that 6-pound test that you're using is going to scare those fish. I'm fishing with 10-pound fluorocarbon. I go with the fluorocarbon because it offsets the weight of the line. But as you've seen tonight, there's a lot of muskie here. So with that being said, I'm Charles Mills from Outdoor University. Smash that like button. Remember, take a kid fishing. Small carbon footprint. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the water.